Welcome back for another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're getting into a book that just exploded. Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
I mean, the numbers are wild. Over 20 million copies sold.
Mm-hmm.
And it spent, what was it, 307 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list? Just astonishing.
It really is.
Yeah.
A cultural moment, almost.
Exactly. So the big question we want to unpack today is, why? Why did this book hit home for so many people?
Right.
Our mission really is to explore its core philosophy and maybe pull out some of the practical tools it offers you, the listener.
And that's a great place to start, because I think a huge part of its appeal is that Manson's core idea is basically an anti-positivity manifesto.
Anti-positivity.
Yeah, he deliberately takes conventional self-help ideas and just flips them upside down.
How so?
Well, the foundational concept is this. Relentless optimism, he says, is toxic.
Toxic. That's strong.
It is, but not just because it's, unrealistic. He argues it actually stops real growth. Because if you're denying life's, inevitable struggles, you're basically disarming yourself. You miss the chance to build resilience.
The chance that comes from actually facing things.
Exactly. Confronting adversity head on. So he suggests, and this is really counterintuitive, that happiness isn't found by chasing constant sunshine. It's found in solving meaningful problems.
Meaningful problem. Okay, that's a stark contrast to what you usually hear, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like, don't just slap on a smile and pretend. But, okay, if relentless optimism is toxic, what kind of problems should we focus on? And how do you even know if a problem is good, as you put it?
Yeah, that's the core of it. Manson says life is just, it's an endless series of problems. You can't escape them.
Right. That sounds a bit bleak.
It could, but the clever part isn't about getting rid of problems. It's about upgrading them.
Upgrading problems.
Yeah. Moving from, say, superficial stuff like chasing likes on social media, which gives you that fleeting, shallow feeling, to what he calls good problems. And these are the ones tied to your deeper values.
Like what, for example?
Like the effort it takes to build a career you actually care about, or working through a difficult but ultimately rewarding relationship.
Ah, I see. The struggle has purpose.
Precisely. He really drives home this idea that happiness requires struggle.
Requires it.
Yeah. And that avoiding pain, well, you only do that at the cost of true fulfillment. The path is through the stuff that matters.
That's a really powerful idea. It sounds a lot like, choosing your battles wisely.
It is, in a way.
But thinking practically.
Yeah.
For someone who feels maybe overwhelmed by too many problems.
Sure.
Or even someone struggling to figure out what their core values are, how easy is it to just choose what to care about?
That's a really critical point. It's not always simple.
So what does he offer?
Yep.
Like, what are the actual tools or principles to navigate this? Choosing what to fuck about.
Right. He does offer a toolkit, a kind of practical, counterintuitive one for living what he'd call a feck-worthy life. One big concept is radical responsibility.
Radical responsibility.
Yeah.
Sounds intense.
It's not about blaming yourself for everything bad that happens. Not at all.
Okay, good.
It's more about recognizing you always control your response, even if the situation isn't your fault.
So, owning your reaction.
Exactly. Letting go of blaming others, which he says traps you in, like victimhood.
Right.
And instead embracing ownership, even when it's tough, because that gives you back the power to act, to choose your next step.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another key tool is choose your pain.
Choose your pain.
Yeah. The question, what are you willing to struggle for? Your answer to that, he argues, actually defines your success more than anything else.
Wow. So focus on the struggle you're willing to endure.
Yes. Finding meaning in the process, not just dreaming about some distant outcome. And then finally, there's prune your facts.
Prune your frecks. Love the phrasing.
Ha, yeah. It's about recognizing you have limited energy, limited emotional bandwidth.
Definitely feel that sometimes.
Right. So reserve that energy, those facts, for values you can actually control.
Like
honesty or curiosity or maybe kindness. Things internal to you, not external things you can't control, like being famous or what other people think of you.
that really does challenge the usual self-help stuff, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
What is it about his style specifically that you think makes it so unexpected? And why did that connect with people maybe tired of the usual positive platitudes?
Yeah, the style is key. It's that brutal honesty mixed with a kind of dark humor.
Right, he doesn't hold back. the swearing.
Exactly. The expletives, the occasional poop jokes even,
Uh-huh.
and blunt truths like, you're not special, or someday you'll die. It's jarring, but it kind of disarms you.
Yeah, it gets through the noise.
It does. But it's not just shock value. He grounds it by sharing his own failures. Really personal stuff.
Like his own career issues, dating problems.
Yeah, career meltdowns, dating disasters, you name it. It makes the whole philosophy feel more human, less preachy.
Relatable.
Very. He even talks about how obsessing over happiness just made him miserable, until he learned to embrace life's, well, its suck, as he puts it.
Embrace the suck.
Mm-hmm. And you see his do something principle in there, too, which is super practical.
What's that one?
Basically, if you're stuck, just act. Do anything. The motivation, he argues, will follow the action, not the other way around. Don't wait to feel motivated.
Just start.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely see why that raw, unfiltered thing resonates.
That's sure.
But, no big book avoids criticism, and this one definitely got some.
Sure.
Some critics pointed out that, okay, the choose your struggles idea is powerful, but maybe its usefulness is limited for people facing huge systemic barriers, like poverty or discrimination.
That's a really important critique, yeah.
And others suggested the edgy tone, all the F-bombs.
Yeah.
Maybe it sometimes overshadows the actual message, that it might be repackaging older ideas like Stoicism or Buddhism, just louder.
Those are both fair points, and it brings up, the question of audience and universal applicability.
Right. Who is this really for?
Manson himself has kind of acknowledged this. He suggested the book is maybe most helpful for people who, despite having relative privilege, still feel adrift, unfulfilled.
Okay. So it has its context.
Exactly. So while the subtle art offers really valuable insights for a lot of people, you're right, its framework might not hit the same way for every single person facing every kind of struggle. It's important to keep that context in mind.
Got it. So wrapping things up a bit, the subtle art of not giving a feck, it's clearly not some simple fix, right? Or a guide to just not caring about anything.
No, definitely not apathy.
It feels more like, I think you called it a slap in the face to wake you up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just worn out by all that toxic positivity.
That's a good way to put it.
And Manson's own line sums it up well, doesn't it? The key isn't to ignore adversity, but to find something more important than it.
A powerful thought.
It really pushes you, the listener, to think about what that perspective could mean in your own life.
Yeah, and zooming out, that core principle, choosing what you struggle for, embracing the necessary pain that really can lead towards real fulfillment, it's such a strong counterpoint to this constant drive to avoid pain, avoid difficulty at all costs.
Absolutely.
Which leaves us with a pretty important question for you listening right now. If life is this endless stream of problems, what good problems that genuinely align with your values, are you willing to truly struggle for?
That's the core question, isn't it?
It really is. And interestingly, for anyone wanting to see these ideas in action, there was actually a documentary in 2023 based on the book.
Oh, right. I heard about that.
Yeah, it apparently does a great job visualizing Manson's concepts, like how trying to avoid pain can paradoxically create more suffering, uses real stories. Something else to check out, maybe?
Good tip.
So ultimately, it boils down to this question for you to ponder. What does it truly mean for you to give a feck, but only when it really matters?